Welcome to Andre's Insight, where clarity meets curiosity.
Mm.
Today, we're plunging into the fascinating realm of emotional intelligence. You shared some really rich material with us, and our goal is to really dig into it and pull out the most valuable insights for you.
Absolutely. And the material, it touches on quite a bit. How emotional intelligence is, increasingly seen as vital in areas like education and work. The powerful and often unseen ways our feelings spread between us. Concrete strategies we can all use to build our emotional skills.
Hmm.
Its pivotal role in effective leadership, and even some, well, surprising aspects related to very high intelligence.
Hmm.
We'll also be exploring the nuances of understanding and navigating our own emotional world and the significant impact our feelings have, well, on our own lives and the people around us, too.
Okay, let's start digging. Something that immediately struck me from the sources is just how much the importance of emotional intelligence is being acknowledged. Like, across so many different parts of life, it's not just a buzzword, it seems.
Exactly. There's a growing recognition that it's foundational for both personal fulfillment and professional success, not just some kind of bonus skill.
Right.
We're seeing a real shift in education with more interest in what's being called emotional schooling, programs specifically designed to cultivate social and emotional competencies in young people.
Emotional schooling.
Yeah.
Interesting term.
Yeah, the thinking is that by nurturing things like self-awareness, healthy self-esteem, positive connections, and the ability to understand others' feelings, empathy, basically, we can significantly enhance motivation and, well, the capacity to learn.
That makes perfect sense. If you feel more emotionally secure and understood, you're probably in a much better headspace to focus and take in new information.
Mm.
And it's not just an individual thing, is it? Our emotional intelligence seems, well, deeply connected to the people we interact with.
Precisely. Our capacity to understand and manage emotions isn't something we develop in a vacuum. The sources really emphasize how contagious emotions can be. For instance, there's fascinating research. It tracked families over multiple generations, suggesting that parents who demonstrate greater empathy tend to raise children who are also more empathetic.
Wow, across generations.
Yeah. It appears that empathy flourishes in environments where it's sort of a common experience. What's fascinating here is the idea that, almost like osmosis, being around emotionally intelligent individuals can actually elevate your own EQ.
So, intentionally surrounding yourself with people who are emotionally aware, that could be a strategy for personal growth in this area. That's a really interesting angle.
It seems so.
The material also touched on how even reconnecting with people from our past can have a positive effect on our emotional resilience. It's like our emotional well-being is woven into the fabric of our social connections.
Absolutely. And the encouraging news here is that emotional intelligence isn't fixed. It's not like you're stuck with what you have. The material you shared provides a wealth of practical approaches we can all take to strengthen different facets of it. And a natural starting point is cultivating self-awareness.
Okay, let's delve into those practical strategies then.
Mm.
Self-awareness seems like the bedrock, doesn't it?
Mm.
The first step in really understanding our emotional landscape.
It is. A fundamental aspect of self-awareness is taking ownership of your feelings, recognizing that your emotions and subsequent actions originate within you,
Uh-huh.
rather than solely being a direct result of external events. That's key. It's also about identifying your personal emotional triggers.
Ah, the triggers, yeah.
Understanding what kinds of situations or interactions tend to spark specific feelings and developing the ability to process those emotions before you react impulsively. Think of it like giving yourself a beat.
Ah, pause.
Yeah, pause. To understand what's happening internally before you respond to the outside world.
That's a great way to put it. It's about that crucial pause. The material also highlighted the importance of paying attention to the physical sensations that accompany our emotions.
That's a really insightful point. Our bodies often provide valuable signals about our emotional state.
Like a knot in your stomach or...
Exactly. Noticing physical responses like increased tension, a rapid heartbeat, or that feeling of unease in your stomach can offer important clues about what you're feeling emotionally. The suggestion to objectively observe your emotional experiences. Noting the context, the specific situation, your feelings, the environment, and the eventual outcome. That's also a powerful technique for self-reflection and gaining deeper understanding.
It's like becoming a detective of your own inner world, collecting data points to understand your emotional patterns.
Mm-hmm, precisely.
And then there's the idea of anticipating how you might feel in future situations and consciously choosing a more constructive response. That sounds like taking proactive control of our emotional reactions.
Precisely. And self-awareness also involves, well, an honest assessment of your own areas for growth. That includes how you tend to handle pressure and how you respond to feedback from others.
Ooh, feedback. That can be tricky.
It can. And seeking feedback from trusted individuals can be particularly valuable, as they can often offer insights into our behavior that we might not see ourselves.
Right, getting that outside perspective can be so helpful. So once we have a better grasp of self-awareness, how do we move into self-management? That sounds like putting those insights into practice, like in our daily lives.
Self-management is all about regulating how you respond to your emotions. This includes managing your physical reactions in the moment, perhaps using techniques like deep breathing exercises to help calm down when strong emotions arise.
Okay.
Interestingly, the sources also mention that our physical expressions, like laughter or a genuine smile, can actually send signals to our brain,
Hmm.
signals that a situation is okay.
Really?
Yeah, which can help shift us towards a more neutral emotional state. It's a fascinating interplay between our physical and emotional states.
That's a really intriguing idea. It's almost like our bodies can help lead our minds sometimes. What other aspects fall under the umbrella of self-management?
Well, ensuring that you allow yourself sufficient time for reflection and recovery after emotionally charged events is really crucial.
Okay, recovery time.
Yeah, this gives both the rational and the emotional parts of your brain the opportunity to process what has happened. The technique of creating emotion versus reason lists,
Hmm.
where you consciously explore both the emotional and logical perspectives on a situation, and even challenging your own assumptions by arguing the opposite point of view.
Yeah,
That can be incredibly helpful in developing more balanced and effective responses.
right. Seeing both sides.
And of course, prioritizing your overall mental well-being through healthy habits like regular exercise and sufficient sleep forms a vital foundation for strong self-management skills. You can't manage emotions well if you're exhausted or run down.
These are all such practical and actionable strategies. Now, shifting our focus outward a bit, the material also covered social awareness. What are the key elements of that?
Social awareness is fundamentally about understanding the emotions of others. It begins with being fully present in social
Being
interactions.
present, yeah. Not just waiting to talk.
Exactly. Paying attention to the subtle cues in the environment and actively listening to what others are saying, both verbally and non-verbally, without getting lost in your own internal thoughts or, preparing your next response. Paying close attention to nonverbal signals like body language and facial expressions is also a critical component. These often communicate a wealth of information about someone's emotional state.
So it's about becoming a more attuned observer of the social landscape.
Mm.
And the material mentioned trying to understand things from other people's perspectives. How can we actively cultivate that ability?
Well, one suggestion was to consciously observe how people react in various situations, even in fictional scenarios, like in movies or books.
Oh, interesting. Like watching characters.
Yeah, noticing the subtle ways characters express different emotions can enhance your understanding of real-world emotional expressions. It's about actively developing your capacity to read the room, so to speak, and gain insight into what others might be feeling, even if they don't explicitly say it.
Right, it's like exercising our empathy muscles.
Right.
And that naturally leads us to relationship management, which seems to be about how we navigate our interactions with others based on our understanding of both our own emotions and theirs.
Precisely. Relationship management is about building and maintaining healthy and positive connections through clear and open communication and the ability to navigate conflicts constructively.
Communication breakdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, those cause a lot of issues.
They really do. Many challenges in relationships arise from those breakdowns. So, being able to express your own thoughts and feelings effectively while also truly listening to and understanding others is essential. When you're receiving feedback, for example, it's vital to make a genuine effort to understand the other person's viewpoint and ensure they feel heard and valued, even if the feedback itself is difficult to receive.
Hmm. Making them feel heard.
It sounds like it's all interconnected. Understanding yourself forms the basis for managing yourself, which then allows you to better understand others, ultimately leading to more effective and fulfilling relationships.
Now, the material also delved into emotional intelligence and leadership, and it sounds like it's considered incredibly important in that context.
Absolutely. Hugely important. Emotional intelligence is increasingly being recognized as a cornerstone of effective leadership. Some research even suggesting it may be the most critical skill for leaders to possess, perhaps for 2024 even.
The most critical. Wow.
It's often the distinguishing factor between good leaders and truly exceptional ones. By having a strong understanding of their own emotions and the emotions of their team members, leaders can navigate complex interpersonal dynamics and inspire their teams much more effectively.
What are some of the core aspects of emotional intelligence that are particularly crucial for those in leadership roles?
Well, the foundational elements we talked about, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills, they're all incredibly important for leaders.
Okay.
Empathetic leadership, in particular, has been shown to significantly boost team engagement, foster loyalty, and enhance overall productivity. Why? Because employees feel genuinely valued and understood.
Makes sense. People want to feel valued.
Exactly. Leaders should actively strive to cultivate a work environment where individuals feel their contributions are meaningful and that they matter as people, not just as cogs in a machine.
It seems like even seemingly small, perhaps unintentional, actions from a leader can have a significant impact on how valued their team members feel.
That's absolutely right. Leaders need to be highly attuned to the subtle ways they might inadvertently communicate a lack of value, even through nonverbal cues like body language or tone of voice.
Mhm.
Being aware of factors that can erode morale and stifle positive energy within a team is essential. And sharing a compelling vision with genuine passion and involving employees in the process of shaping that vision
Mhm.
that can cultivate a strong sense of shared purpose and commitment.
The idea that a leader's perception of their employees can actually influence those employees' success is really powerful. It's like the leader's belief can become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. It's quite profound when you think about it. Authenticity, ensuring that your actions consistently align with your core values, along with cultivating inner strength and self-confidence, are all vital aspects of emotionally intelligent leadership.
Authenticity, yeah. People see through fakeness.
They do. Expressing sincere gratitude is also incredibly important, and the focus should be on acknowledging effort and contributions rather than solely relying on, say, monetary
Yeah,
rewards.
genuine appreciation.
And of course, developing strong active listening skills and cultivating genuine empathy are crucial for leaders to truly connect with their teams and understand the overall emotional climate of the workplace.
It's about being attuned to the underlying music of the workplace, as one of the sources beautifully put it. Now, shifting gears a bit, the material also touched on some potential challenges that can sometimes be associated with very high intelligence.
Mm.
That was an interesting counterpoint.
It was, wasn't it? Individuals with very high intelligence might sometimes find casual small talk,
Wow.
well, draining.
Yeah.
Yeah, and prefer engaging in more in-depth discussions about complex ideas and concepts. They might also tend to be more deliberate in their communication, thinking carefully before they speak, which can sometimes lead to them being perceived by others as reserved or overly serious.
So navigating everyday social interactions can sometimes present unique hurdles. It also mentioned potential difficulties with lighthearted conversations and forming friendships,
Mm-hmm.
as well as a tendency to gravitate towards others with similar intellectual interests. It's a reminder that different strengths can come with their own set of challenges in navigating the social world.
Indeed. Now, let's pivot to something very practical. The 20-second rule for overcoming inertia. That sounded like a really ingenious, simple idea. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, I found that fascinating too. It's based on the principle that as humans, we're naturally inclined towards the path of least resistance, right? We like easy.
Sure, makes sense.
The rule suggests that by introducing a small barrier, something that adds about 20 seconds of friction between yourself and an undesirable habit, you can make that habit significantly less appealing.
Just 20 seconds.
Just 20 seconds. Conversely, by making positive actions just a little bit easier, reducing the effort required by around 20 seconds, you can dramatically increase the likelihood of engaging in those beneficial behaviors.
So, for instance, if you're trying to cut down on mindless scrolling, you might move the social media apps off your home screen, maybe into a folder. Adds that little delay.
Exactly, that's the 20 seconds. Or, if you want to incorporate more reading into your routine, you might leave a book open on your nightstand, making it effortlessly accessible.
Ah, okay. It's about cleverly leveraging our natural tendency towards ease to support our goals. Simple, but potentially powerful.
Exactly. Now, the discussion around the emotional landscape beyond just basic emotions was also really insightful. It brought up the concepts of primary and secondary emotions. What's the distinction there?
Right. So primary emotions are our initial, more direct emotional responses to a particular situation. Think, fear when startled or sadness at a loss.
The raw feeling.
The raw feeling, yeah. Secondary emotions, on the other hand, can often act as a kind of protective layer or sometimes a way of avoiding those more vulnerable primary feelings.
Okay, like a mask.
Sort of. For example, sadness might sometimes manifest as anger, which is a secondary emotion in that case. Or someone might project an air of false happiness to mask underlying feelings of fear or anxiety.
So the emotion we see on the surface isn't always the core feeling underneath. How can we become better at recognizing these secondary emotions, both in ourselves and maybe in others?
Well, the key is to develop the ability to trace those secondary emotions back to their original source, to the primary feeling that triggered them.
Digging deeper.
Exactly. Understanding fundamental human fears, such as the fear of abandonment or rejection, can often provide valuable clues in understanding certain avoidant behaviors that manifest as secondary emotions. It's also interesting to note that even seemingly positive emotions like happiness can sometimes be accompanied by a secondary fear, a fear related to the potential loss of that happiness.
That's a really nuanced way of looking at our emotional complexities.
Yeah.
The material also introduced the 5 A's as a potential antidote to negative feelings like contempt and shame. What are those 5 principles?
The 5 A's are attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, and allowing.
Okay. Attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, allowing.
Right. They represent a way of relating to ourselves and others that fosters positive emotional connection. They can counteract negative feelings by cultivating awareness, understanding, positive regard, and importantly, a sense of permission to experience our emotions without judgment.
These sound like really valuable principles for navigating our emotional lives and our relationships with greater wisdom and compassion. Finally, the material touched on some broader global trends in emotional intelligence. What were the key takeaways from that overview? Sounded a bit concerning.
Unfortunately, yes, the global data does point to some concerning trends. Overall, global emotional intelligence scores, along with general well-being scores, have shown a decline in recent years.
Really? A decline.
Yes. There seems to be what's being termed an emotional recession, characterized by lower levels of well-being and increased rates of burnout across populations. Generation Z, in particular, appears to be facing significant mental and emotional health challenges, especially in the workplace.
That's definitely something to be aware of. Was there any positive movement at all on the global emotional landscape mentioned?
Interestingly, yes, a gender difference has emerged in the post-pandemic period. While men's emotional intelligence scores have continued to show a downward trend, women's scores have shown a degree of recovery since around 2021. Yeah, along with improvements in factors related to life success. So, while overall well-being remains a concern globally, the trajectory for women's emotional intelligence appears a bit more positive recently.
Okay, let's bring this all together for you, the learner. You value gaining knowledge efficiently and thoroughly, right? And what we've explored today is that emotional intelligence is, well, it's a vital and multifaceted skill. It touches pretty much every aspect of your life, from your personal well-being and your closest relationships to your effectiveness in any professional role you might hold.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The sources underscore that developing your emotional intelligence isn't just about having a deeper understanding of your own feelings, internally. It's also about recognizing the powerful ways you interact with and are influenced by the emotional world around you.
Mm.
The contagious nature of emotions we talked about, coupled with the practical strategies for cultivating self-awareness and self-management, they provide tangible pathways for you to actively strengthen this crucial intelligence.
So what does this all mean for you? It suggests that by consciously paying attention to your emotional responses, understanding your personal triggers, and thoughtfully choosing how you engage with others, you can significantly enhance your ability to navigate complex situations,
Yeah.
build stronger and more meaningful connections, and ultimately make more informed decisions both for your own benefit and in any leadership capacity you might find yourself in.
Exactly. And here's a final provocative thought for you to consider. Given that emotional intelligence is both a deeply personal attribute and something that can be subtly transmitted and received, you know, contagious,
Right.
how might intentionally focusing on nurturing and developing your own EQ create a positive ripple effect within your personal and professional spheres? Could it ultimately contribute to a more emotionally intelligent environment for everyone around you? Something to think about.